I know this isn't usually where you find me recording and talking to you guys about rugby, but today is a travel day for Off the Ruck for the Meet Your Team series, and I'm driving down to Canberra today to chat to Stephen Larkham, one of the best fly halves of all time, especially here in Australia. And then, of course, we have the rest of the Brums, which is one of the best performers in the Super Rugby Pacific competition over the last couple of years from an Australian perspective. So I can pinch myself and I can hardly believe that I'm going down to do this interview, but I cannot wait. And I hope you guys are getting around this interview as well. Like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you guys think. G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Meet Your Coach on Off the Ruck here, your weekly rugby breakdown with me, John Ferguson. I'm standing here with one of the absolute legends of Australian rugby. I'm in a little bit of awe. My knees are shaking, thank God they're not necessarily in shot, I hope not. But Bernie, thank you so much for inviting me down here and for having me and giving me your time.
No, it's a pleasure. Obviously what you're doing is great for the game as well, so we appreciate that as well.
Thank you. And I just really want to get a kind of a big macro look at like what's worked. What do you feel like worked in 2025? And then what do you feel like you're going to be able to bring into 2026 here in preseason? Because obviously we're still in preseason.
Yeah, I think there's a number of things that worked well. We're probably looking at the things that didn't work well, and we're trying to improve on those. So obviously we fell short in the season last year getting to the finals, but not being able to win those games. And we had a fairly successful regular season. We lost 5 games, and if you go back to the previous year, we only lost 2 games, but we probably had a harder draw in terms of travel. So we've certainly looked at things like that, making sure that our processes are correct around those areas. And then, look, we know we've got a number of changes. There's a number of players that have left the Brumbies. A couple of notable ones in Tom Hooper, Lenny Katau, Noel Lucio. And then we've got Tom Wright, who's also injured at the moment. Lockie Lonergan's also injured at the moment. So there's going to be a number of changes to our team. So we've been working on combination, trying to make sure that we find able replacements. And certainly through competition at training, we're seeing some guys step up and put their hand up for these spots that are vacant at the moment.
And just on that, obviously you've got, as you've mentioned, those players leaving. That's a vacuum of experience, even though they weren't particularly old by any stretch of the imagination. Do you feel like you're going to be able to really, because from what I spoke with Ben Mowen and kind of the players that you guys have brought in, how are you feeling about squad cohesion and then to be able to move into 2026? Because there are players, names that we know that are coming up through the ranks that are quite impressive.
Yeah, I think we've done a pretty good job recruiting players into our academy program. If you look at our squad from last year to this year, there's only one new name, a player who has come from outside of the Brumbies environment, which is Taine. And he's come back when the Wallabies have come back, which is the back end of last week, and they've been thrown into the deep end, and they're all catching up at the moment in terms of the understanding of the way that we're playing and some subtle little tweaks to the way that we played last year. But the other guys, there's 7 or 8 new names in terms of new players within our squad, but they've all come through the academy system. They've all been here for at least 2 years, training with us for 2 years, so it doesn't feel like they're new. And to people outside of the organisation, yeah, they're new names, but for us, we've seen this potential combination now for a couple of years. So, we're really shooting for round 1. We've got 2 trial games, one over in Perth, one here at Marist in Canberra, against the Force and against the Waratahs, and we'll give the guys, these young guys, we'll give everyone in the squad equal opportunity to impress themselves and to impress us, to see if they can put their hand up for one of these positions.
Well, I think that you've spoken about something that really breeds the culture here in the ACT, aging people up through the academy system and then into the squad reel. You've seen those combinations, so I'll let you get out amongst the boys there. They're looking well set, but I really appreciate you giving me your time, and go well in 2026.
No worries, thanks for coming.
All right, guys, so now I'm here with one of the senior coaches here at the ACT Brumbies. It's Ben Mowen, former Wallaby. You guys all know who he is. Ben, thank you so much for spending your time and coming down and chatting to me briefly.
Pleasure.
Cheers. First thing I want to ask about is, obviously, you've got a couple of specialist roles here at the Brumbies, as well as overlooking the boys. What is some of the things that you've taken out of 2025 that you're really keen to be able to work into 2026?
Yeah, look, there hasn't been too many big changes. Obviously, when you get quite deep into the competition, it's your systems and processes that get stressed the most. So we've just gone back and trying to bed down in some of the extra detail around what we're doing at tackle time, our presence at the ruck, outcomes we think we can get a little bit more improvement in terms of time and tackle. So all those collision aspects, we worked hard throughout the pre-season, but there's no huge pivots. It's just doing the same things we've been doing, but doing them better.
I think rush defense is such a fashion of the time at the moment. You see all the big teams really running that sort of thing. You guys are one of the few teams that have been implementing it for a while. Do you feel like that's still very much the trend for you guys, and that's really been, because it has really been working for you guys?
Yeah, I think you've got to design your defence and your philosophy around the players that you have. And if you look at the profile of our players, we've got really skillful guys, obviously very fast guys in terms of our edge defenders. So you want to play into those strengths. And so for us, a high line speed team allows those guys to then express that pace, get high, take away time and space. So look, we're continuing down that vein. We're obviously chasing more accuracy in terms of our edge tackle percentages. I think like most teams, you reflect back on things that you've done really well throughout the year, and then that's sort of your landmark that you want to build off in going into the next season. So we've certainly done that. And there's been some really pleasing signs in terms of what we're seeing out wide. Our edge defence, our aggression there, our intent to get off the line. The guys have really bought into it over the last few years. So I think they're at the stage now where they're driving a lot of the adjustments, which is good. It's gone from they're learning the system to they're driving, developing the system, and I'm learning, trying to keep up with them. So I think that's a healthy spot.
It sounds like it's something that you've been able to take over now, because obviously with Laurie Fisher before you was a very much drift defence, what we've seen in the Wallabies, but now you introduced the rush defence, and that's been quite a big change, I think, for the people who've been rostered on at the Brumbies for a while. But as you've mentioned, you've got the stock to be able to do it, and you've got people on the edges like Rory Scott, you've got Luke Reimer, and great people in the breakdown. Are there any of the younger players that we're not aware of so much in the back row that are bringing that kind of skill set to the games for the senior squad?
Yeah, certainly. If you look at a lot of the newer members in the squad, Eli Lange, Toby McPherson, even Harvey Cordukes, who's a tall lock, all have the ability to play over the ball, and that's really exciting. So, we've seen guys that are moving into the top squad now that have represented through John Ident, have played fringe Super Rugby or come through the junior pathway, who have that skill set. And certainly, as a group, we want to be a team that forces turnover, and we have a mindset to go attack the attack rather than survive it. So we're going to lean into those skill sets this year.
It takes obviously a lot to be able to go between the phases and between the set pieces, but then at the actual set piece, line out has been very strong for a good couple of years, and obviously that's something that you did as a player when you were playing. But then what are those set pieces looking like? Because you've lost a really great player who went really great guns for the Wallabies as well, Tom Hooper. Where is the set pieces now for you guys as a unit? Do you feel like you can carry on that strength from 25 to 26, or do you feel like that's going to take some time to really bed in, maybe just losing someone as influential as Tom, and even for Tuaina there at prop?
Yeah, look, it's always challenging when you lose quality like that. When you see Tommy Hooper's performances, he's outstanding. He's a very established international player. But the exciting thing around him potentially moving on for the foreseeable future is the opportunity that provides the next bloke. And certainly I was fortunate enough to be Tommy Hooper's under-20s coach, so I saw his development and the sharp curve that he went on. And we've got a lot of players on a similar curve. So that's the really exciting thing for us as a group is, yes, we've lost guys that had that real set-piece strength, but we've been replaced by equally talented guys. Obviously don't have that experience factor just yet, but with that comes an exciting new breed where they're brave, they're willing to try things, they're open to really new ideas and new concepts. So it's going to be exciting for our set piece this year.
Well, we're excited to see how it's going to go. I really appreciate you giving me your time this afternoon. Defense as well as attack. It's going to be awesome to see how the Brumbies go. So good luck in 2026.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Thanks, mate.
Back row utility player Taii Tualima. Taii, thank you so much for coming and chatting with me. I know that I've stolen you away from lunch, so I do apologise for that. You got to get the carbs in, you got to get the food in to be able to train out there. But how are you feeling? But also, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Body's sore, so we're coming towards the end of preseason, so pretty keen to start the games.
Yeah. No, I mean, as well, it's like after Chrissy, you've been in preseason beforehand, you're now coming up to almost game time. It is only in a couple of, it's a bit of a week away, more than a week away. How is the preseason going for the side? Because obviously you've been here for a couple of years now. Things have changed, but do you feel like there's something particularly different about 2025, 2026 preseason?
Just more so a lot more younger boys coming through the program. Just a lot of young bucks there, just killing it, doing well, training hard. The whole group's training hard. It was also good. We got Slips back a bit earlier from his Wallabies stuff, so he's been a huge help. So yeah.
No, I've seen Slips on some video for the Brumbies. He's been stirring some trouble, particularly Billy Pollard. But I think those guys secretly do love each other.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a big year. You're missing some of the boys that you've played alongside a lot, like obviously Tom Hooper, and then you've got Lenny Kitau and Tom Wright injured, unfortunately, obviously coming back now into the training program, and then obviously Noah Loloseo. How has that kind of been, obviously, because they're quite experienced and big part of the leadership group? How has it been without those boys?
Yeah, it's been they're definitely a huge loss, but we've had like a lot of other boys like Rory, young gun Shorey. He's been huge in training, so he's been definitely stepping up. He's got a big voice in training, and then like all the other boys, just all the boys that have been around for a long time, just all stepping up. But like they're all huge losses, and Tani, he's stepped up. He's taken over Noah's spot.
Has that actually stuck? Is everyone calling him Tane? Like, is that a thing that people are doing?
Yeah,
now?
he brought it up as a nickname.
Oh, he's given it himself. The nickname. Oh, that's huge.
So a few of the boys are calling him Tane, so I think I'll stick with that one.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, no, it's great to have him down here, and obviously because we want to keep him in Australian rugby, but you're not always sure where he's going to end up. But it's good that he's ended up down here. You've now played at the Queensland Reds. You're from Queensland originally, that's right. Yeah. And then you've been down at the Rebels. Obviously, we know what happened there. Really sad, unfortunate. And now you're here at Brums. Do you reckon there's like a big difference between who you are as an athlete now to when you were with the Queensland Reds? And like, can you tell there's like a big difference on how you're approaching your rugby through those different years?
Yeah, definitely learned a lot as I've played for different teams. But I think just more so the learning bit, I guess. Like I'm still learning now, like a lot of young bucks are coming through the system and I'm still learning stuff off them, but just more the more games I've played, just the more I kind of learn and build on my game.
And so from what I understand, you have a young family, very recent, so congratulations. But how is that now? Obviously, does that change the way you're playing footy, like being a parent, being a dad, or do you just nope, just full flare?
You definitely do lose a lot of sleep. Yeah. But I guess at the start it was a bit hard, just getting used to it. But now my partner's definitely letting me get a bit more sleep and helping me out there.
Oh mate, you gotta have a good partner. Otherwise,
she's awesome.
Otherwise, you're in trouble. But then I also want to talk about, like, obviously you've had really good success with the Brumbies. Obviously, like one of the most successful side in Australia. What do you kind of like put down your ability in the forward pack? Because obviously you're quite a dominant forward carrier. Like you carrying the ball is something that you do quite well. What do you put down your kind of, as a team, as a unit, your ability to be able to really go up the guts? Because that seemed to be what you guys were just planning on doing all 2025.
I guess just kind of just the work through preseason, just making it a focus and just being dominant in all that we do. Like even if through this, our scrum, our line out set piece stuff, our moors, we just like to try and work hard at that and just try and be dominant once we get on the field.
And it's definitely working. So then, when you do you have like a particular part of the game that you love the most? When like is it the ruck? Do you like whacking blokes, or is it the part of the carry, or is it then more the defensive side of the game?
I'd say attack. I like carrying the ball. And then also using my ball skills. So, but yeah, I like everything. As a player, you got to be good at all of it. So
yeah. A couple of more flick passes in 2026, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I doubt Bernie would allow that. But just like just a couple of quick fire questions to be able to, like, get to know who you are as a person. Who's like the worst person to room with while you're on tour?
I'm mainly with Tom Hooper, so he's pretty chill. He's good, so I like him. But I don't know. I'd probably say in the squad now, I'd probably say one of the young boys, Tavita.
Yeah.
he likes to talk a lot around training and stuff, so he'd probably be the worst one. But, yeah.
And then secondly, if you're having like a meal after a game, what's the go-to absolute treat? You just played the absolute best game you've played all season to date. What are you treating yourself to?
Probably shouldn't say this, but I love Macca's after the game. I like probably a Big Mac, McChicken burger, 24 nuggets, and a Diet Coke.
Yeah, of course, always Diet Coke. Remember, kids, drink your Diet Coke. Yeah. And then if you had a player that you could play with, dead or alive, who would it be? Now, we're at Off the Ruck, which is the YouTube channel here. We are making a 15 from a 15, but hopefully a 23 if we get enough. About like every guest on the show gets to pick a player so that they become part of the team. So you can't pick a number 8 because Dan McKellar picked Todai Kefu, and then you can't pick number 15 because Israel Flowers picked a number 15. So those 2 players are out, but you've got open slather, the rest of the positions, and anyone in the world, dead or alive. Who's the player that you'd want to play with?
That's a tough one, eh? I'll probably have to go put number 6, Jerry Collins.
Hey, yeah. That is a choice. That's our first All Black, and I love it. That's awesome. And I don't know if you've seen, but all the Hurricanes boys have a lot of the Hurricanes boys have dyed their hair. I don't know if it is a homage to Jerry Collins.
I think that's the last thing I've just seen on my Instagram. So
yeah. I think Charlie Cale's going a little bit of a frosted tip as well.
Yeah.
No chance you're getting the frosted tips out?
Nah, no way. Not with this hair.
The mullet will work well with it. But that's awesome, Ty. Thank you so much. You've given your precious lunchtime away, and with between lack of sleep with a new baby and congratulations, and then also not getting to eat your lunch, I really appreciate you getting down here chatting with me before training.
Easy. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, brother.
Cheers.
All right, well, the boys have got into some shape and some skill drills just behind me here on the field here at UC. It was honestly just such a whirlwind being able to meet these guys, being able to meet Ben Mowen, have a chat with him about shapes and structures, being able to chat with Stephen Larkham full stop. That was pretty damn awesome, and I hope you guys felt the same way that I did about that. And I know that we get used to seeing him on the screen, but just being with him and chatting rugby, that was special, and you could just tell how much he knows about rugby, and it kind of freaks you out, but at the same time it's awesome. And then getting to chat to Tualima, that was great as well, and really got an insight into the gentle but fierce ball carrier that he is on the field. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys got something out of it like I did. That was just one of those pinch myself moments here for Off the Rock. But I hope you guys like and subscribe, comment down below, let me know what you think about the Brums, what they're going to be able to achieve in 2026 in the Super Rugby season. Are they going to be able to deal without their star players that they have lost to injury or also to overseas clubs? We'll see how they go there, but by all means, get on board with the Brumbies. Buy your tickets, buy your memberships, and then make sure that you get down to some games, because I tell you what, right now, I know it's summer, but the early games in the season can be amazing weather like this as well. So make sure that you come down, support the boys, and let's trot.